Welcome to the CEUHelper admin pages. If you need to switch between your admin and user page, you can click the gear icon in the upper right corner and choose user page. If you're on the user page, this will of course say admin page. We're going to be talking about what to do during the conference. So if you click on the conferences button at the top and then locate your conference in the list, you can choose attendees to see everyone who's checked into your conference. Now this initial list only shows people who have CEUHelper accounts. You can see who submitted CEUs, who has certificates, and you can also view and edit any CEUs for a particular user. One common error is when attendees try to submit their CEUs before they're actually done collecting their CEUs. So let's see what that looks like on the attendee device and how to fix it. Some attendees might approach you and their screen looks like this, and it says processing CEUs, and they're unable to check in or out of any events. If you see this, it means that the attendee ignored all the warnings and submitted their CEUs to the conference admins. So we need to reverse this if they want to check back in or out. And here's how we do it. So in our attendee list, find the attendee whose CEUs were submitted, and you'll notice the green button that says submitted. If we just click that, it will unsubmit their CEUs and they'll be able to check in and out again. Back on the attendee's device, have them swipe down from the top of the screen to refresh their conference. Now they can join the conference again and continue collecting CEUs. Now in some cases, you may need to adjust a person's CEUs. So we'll go into this test account here and click View CEUs. And here we'll be able to see a list of all the CEUs for this user, as well as the totals that they've earned so far. If we scroll down, we'll be able to see some events. Now the CEUs are valid. We can choose to invalidate those CEUs and remove this event from the user certificate. We can also add events for users by clicking the Add Event button. We can search for an event, choose it from the list, and click Add Event, and that will be added to their certificate. Now you may see some events that are currently invalid. You can click the Invalid CEUs button with the warning sign to see the reasons why a particular CEU wasn't accepted. So in this case, this user tried to check in using a method that we didn't pre-approve, so they might have tried to manually check in or out, perhaps by accident. And they also checked out more than 5 minutes early and missed 10 minutes of the event. So given the reasons here, and these will change from attendee to attendee, we can decide if we want to validate those. To validate the CEUs, just click the Validate CEUs button, and now the CEUs will count towards the attendees' totals. So now that we've looked at how to work with people who have CEUHelper accounts, let's look at dealing with temporary users who do not have a CEUHelper account. First, let's go back to the main attendee list. One of the options will be manual certificates, and these include all your temporary users, as well as certificates that you just want to create on the fly. So let's click the Manual Certificates button, and we can see a list of all the people who have a manual certificate. If we want to create a new temp attendee, we can click the Create Temp Attendee button. First, enter an email for the user. If you have any users in the registration system, they'll start to pop up, and you can choose one from the list. If you do that, CEUHelper will try to fill in as much information as it can from that registration information. We can add a certification type. And then finally, we can choose to add a badge ID. If you've printed the temporary badges and are using those for your conference, you can choose any of the badges, look at the number, and then enter that number into the box. The user will then be able to use that badge to scan in and out of events. We then need to save the temp user. So once you've added some temporary users, you may need to add or remove events manually. To do that, you can click View Certificate. This will show the temp attendee's certificate. You can add events by clicking the Add Event button, search for the title, choose it from the list, and click Add Event. To remove the event, just click Remove Event, and then hit the trash can. We need to add at least one event before we can save these changes. Once we've added an event, we'll be able to see it in the list below, as well as the total CEUs earned. We can save the certificate, as the warning tells us, and then we can choose to print, email the certificate to the attendee, or save that certificate as a PDF. For now, we'll go back. You can also email the certificate to the attendee from the main attendee list. If you need to change the badge that the temporary attendee is using, Just click the badge ID, and you can enter a new one. But note, the attendee may lose any unsynced CEUs, so make sure to have your conference employees sync all the badges they've scanned before you change anybody's badge. The final process we can initiate from this list is to transfer CEUs. It may be the case that a CEUHelper user can't access their badge from their main account. For example, their phone died, or they can't get on the website, or they printed it and lost it, and so you need to give them a temporary badge that they can use while they're at the conference. Well, if that's the case, go ahead and create a temporary attendee, and then at the end of the conference, we're going to transfer the CEUs to their main account. Now, be careful with this because you can only do it once, so I would wait till after the conference is over and you're sure the attendee is all done collecting CEUs. Once you're sure, you can click Transfer CEUs, and then we need to enter the CEUHelper user's email. Once we start doing that, we'll see some options from the list. We can click those, and then hit Transfer CEUs. Once that's done, we'll see that the CEUs have been transferred to the user's main account, and we can view the certificate in the main attendee list. Well, those are all the main features you'll likely be using during your conference. If you have any questions or concerns, you can email support@CEUHelper.com. Have a great conference.